Mercedes, if you can kind of let me know when we're looking a little steady, and then I'll just start. Give them a little second.
Sounds
Welcome.
good.
We're good?
Yeah, I think it's holding pretty steady right now.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone to our March Wednesday webinar series. Thank you for joining the Cook County Small Business Source. My name is Dominique Gamble. I am the Senior Program Manager here for the Cook County Small Business Source program. Today we have with us our we call it a business service organization. You might hear us say BSO, partner organization Elevate, as well as, I'm sorry, business. I'm going to get that wrong. I'm just going to pass it over to you all. So you can introduce yourselves, and then we will pass it back over to me, and then I'll give you a brief breakdown of the source, who we are and what we do, and then we'll get into the webinar. So with that, Kyle, I'm going to hand it over to you so you can give a brief introduction of yourself and your organization, or Andrea, whichever one of you would like to go first.
Awesome. I can jump in. So good morning, everyone. My name is Andrea Yarbrough, and I'm the program director at Builders Avenue. And I'll talk a little bit more about what we do shortly, and I can pass it over to Kyle.
Thanks, Andrea. Yep, I'm Kyle Johnson, also with Builders Avenue, the COO. I won't be saying much today, but great to be here, and I'll pass it to Jay.
Yes, good morning, everybody. James Burrell with Elevate here. I'll be talking about the Elevate line of credit in a little bit. But first, we have some more intros.
Hi, y'all. I'm Mercedes McClure. I'm with the Cook County Bureau of Economic Development, also with the Cook County Small Business Source. Really excited to be on this call, and I'll pass it to Valeria.
Thank you, Mercedes. I'm Valeria. I'm also with the Source, and I'm very excited to be here and learn just alongside you guys. And I think, is that all of us, or is that all right? Then pass it back to Dominique.
All right, thank you all for that, and I apologize for the fumble with Builders Avenue. Wonderful partner here with the Cook County Small Business Source. Elevate is a referral partner of the source as well. We just work with so many people sometimes, it's just a little easy to get all of the names right when I need them. But I thank you all for joining us. We have a great webinar for you today. Again, we have a webinar where we're going to focus and showcase some funding opportunities if you work in the green construction small business space or business space. So I'm really excited myself, really excited to learn more on what those opportunities look like. And with that, I will get into who is the Cook County Small Business Source. I'm not sure how many of you all follow us, but if you are not really familiar with us, the Cook County Small Business Source is a program that is developed out of the Bureau of Economic Development here at Cook County. We were actually created and brought into fruition in 2020 during the height of COVID. As we know, the world was falling. We saw that small businesses were needed to keep the economy going. So in this eco space, we decided, we have to create some help. We need some support to keep our small business. At that time, it was to survive. Since then, I'm happy to report that we are now in a space where we have transitioned from helping businesses to survive to now thrive and go to the next level. So as you can see here, our mission of the source is to help our small businesses, to support them in whatever way is possible, to help you grow and elevate businesses by providing opportunities and resources, all at no cost, to small businesses throughout Cook County. So we provide resources. What do those look like? Resources such that you are being able to access today. We have free webinars, in-person events. We have a free resource library on our website. You can tap in. We have a free finance page on our website. If you go to cookcountysmallbusiness.org, from time to time we will have grant opportunities as well. Some of our partners who are connected to the source also provide financial access and grant opportunities, like the one we're going to talk about about today. So within that, there's a wealth of knowledge, access free one-on-one coaching. So you can work with a small business advisor, sit down with someone, talk about your business needs. They can help you create a plan or whatever stage you are in your business to help you grow and go to the next level. So what does that look like as far as our impact? So since 2020, I've stated we've been open, and as of 2024, as you can see here, actually these numbers are as of December 2024. I need to change that wording, that month. We have assisted and distributed over $67 million in grant opportunities to small businesses that have 20 or fewer employees. That was a grant that was distributed called the Cook County Small Business Source. The Cook County Source Grant. Some of you all might have heard of that. If not, keep your ears open. We do have another grant opportunity that will be dropping this year in the summertime. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later. We also have served through business advising as well as events over 24,000 businesses through 2020, and we have touched over 106,000 businesses. So that's through door knocking, phone banking, emails, e-blasts. Those are all the businesses that we have touched thus far since 2020. As you can see, our demographics, we have worked with over 82% of our businesses identify as businesses of color, 59% are women-owned businesses, and 94% are micro businesses, meaning, as I stated for the grant, these particular businesses have 10 and fewer employees opposed to the 20 and fewer employees. So not going to go through all the demographics. You can see those here. We work with a very broad variety of different type of businesses, services, access to capital, marketing assistance, financial management, legal support. We have a lot of great things and opportunities coming down that pipeline as well, as we continue to broaden the scope of the source and the work that we're doing here. A lot of our applicants, as you can see, fall in a lot of various different demographic backgrounds. We are so excited that we are really touching all different communities here throughout the Cook County area. As you all know, we are a wonderful melting pot, and everyone is able to receive the service and the help that they need. What type of programs and services might we offer? I spoke a little bit about the coaching. We do assist with those coaching sessions, startup business, emerging businesses who are maybe been in business 5 to 10 years, established businesses, even 15, 20, 30 years or longer. We do work with succession planning. We had a lot of people recently coming in looking for assistance in marketing strategies, especially as we see AI booming. We do have digital tool usage on how to use AI to uplift your business, how to create websites, legal assistance, marketing support, food certifications. We do work with a wonderful organization, Illinois Restaurant Association and allies, who also assist our businesses with food certification. So if you know anyone that's looking for help in any of these areas, you can also direct them to the source. We have access to capital opportunities where you're going to learn more, so I'm not going to talk a lot about that. Builders Avenue and Elevate will help you in that when we do this wonderful webinar. So how does this work? We have actually, this is 11 small businesses we had as partner organizations. I am happy to say we have now added on to Builders Avenue as one. I have to get the updated graphic. We have not finalized that to add in their wonderful logo as well as the Chinese Mutual Aid. So we are now a wonderful program with 13 small business partner BSO organizations, business service organizations, who assist us and help us here with providing these resources to you all, the small businesses in this area. And this, as you can see now, maybe you can understand why I fumbled a little bit on the name. These are all of our referral partners who also assist us through the source. Wonderful partners. If you see a name, someone's located in your home-based community, you might want to tap in, learn a little bit more about offerings that they have for you in small businesses and, closer to where you live or where you work. But again, we work with over 50 organizations here throughout the source that help us to get the word in, draw in business, get the word out, provide resources and opportunities for you, the small business owner. So really trying to make sure that everyone is being assisted in the work that we do. And I just wanted to put a face to the work we do here. So these are some of our wonderful grant winners from our 2023 grant winners from the source. Looking forward to our next grant that's coming out and those businesses that we will help when that is finalized at the end of this year. But these people are just saying they got a grant. We have wonderful impact stories for the people who were assisted. Some people where we established $50 million were awarded to 3,000 businesses. We dispersed $10,000 grants and $20,000 grants. So a lot of great opportunity. People were able to get a new location, hire employees. You know, someone said they had just bought a location, was able to get and fully furnish their new business. So whatever it is that you need, we are here to help. And this is just impact stories of some of the businesses that we helped through the source, not the grant, but actually through the source, who have come through our BSO, Business Service Organization partners. And, you know, we're just doing a plethora of work and we're hoping that we will be able to help you soon. So if you are not already signed up with the source, if you are not already working with one of our wonderful advisors here who's on the line through Builders Avenue, this is another way if you would like to direct people to the source who's not in the solar space but need any form of general small business assistance. Please do take the information down. They can go to cookcountysmallbiz.org, or you can go straight to our impact form through this scan code right here, or if you would like to stay connected to us, as I stated, we will have a grant dropping in the summer. I don't have the exact month. We're looking at maybe June. That's not locked in, but if you would like to stay up to date on that and everything else that we have coming out, that red circle you see at the bottom, you can sign up for our newsletter as well as e-blast. Also, keep checking in on our website and check our social posts. We do make sure we keep those things updated so that you are always current with everything that's coming out of the source. I thank you all. With that, I am going to transition and hand it over to Miss Andrea at Builders Avenue so that we can go into starting this actual wonderful webinar here at the source. Thank you all. Andrea?
Thanks so much, Dominique. I'm going to share my screen quickly. And so for those who joined a little late, again, my name's Andrea Yarbrough. I'm the program director at Builders Avenue. And we are a nonprofit business service organization that supports construction entrepreneurs, helping them to plan, manage, and fund their growth. And so a little bit about us, our approach is a little unique in that we really provide one-on-one customized support to the business based on their needs. And then we also provide a very unique back office apprenticeship program in which we train and then help subsidize the hiring of project associates to help build the business capacity. So some of our capacity building resources are listed here on this slide. We support folks around cost estimating, access to capital, which we're going to talk about a bit more today with our partners Elevate and James, a lot of coaching strategy, financial health and wellness, and helping with accounting, bookkeeping, some certifications and website support as well. And so you can reach out to us via our website, which is buildersavenue.org, or you can reach out via Cook County Source. But I'm not going to share too much more. I'm going to actually pass it over to James and let them jump directly into the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrea. Just give me 1 second to get my screen shared here. How's that look? Can you guys see my presentation? Perfect. So yeah, thank you for the intro. As Andrea mentioned, I'm going to be talking today about Elevate Line of Credit, also known as ELOC, and how it can provide working capital that helps contractors secure work and ultimately grow their business. So to jump into the agenda here, here's the plan. I will start off with a quick intro. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and Elevate, and then I'll talk a little bit about why access to capital matters, and then we will transition into talking a little bit more about ELOC and some program eligibility items, and then we will round things off by talking about what makes ELOC different, the actual process, and then how you can get started. So a little bit about myself. I am James Burrell. I'm a senior associate of Impact Capital over at Elevate. I was originally born in St. Paul, Minnesota, and raised about 20 minutes from downtown. I ended up out here originally because I came to play baseball in college and then basically fell in love with the city and decided not to leave. I have 10 years of lending experience, with the past year being here at Elevate. And I am currently a Southside resident, a dad, and that cute little girl on my shoulders is how I stay active in sports these days. Be on the lookout. She might be a U.S. women's national team prospect in like 2032. So keep an eye out. I'm sure some of you are already familiar with Elevate and kind of what we're all about, but for those who aren't, Elevate seeks to create a just and equitable world in which everyone has clean and affordable heat, cooling, power, and water in their homes and communities, prioritizing frontline communities. And our programs, policy agenda, and partners reflect this commitment with our Impact Capital team focusing on ensuring that contractors in the sustainability ecosystem have the resources that they need to compete and grow in today's changing environment. So, a little bit about kind of why this matters. As we all know, the energy efficiency, clean energy, and infrastructure projects are still growing rapidly, which also creates a lot of opportunities for contractors. And many of them don't even realize it. We're kind of faced with a situation where these opportunities are available for people, and many of them don't necessarily see themselves as clean energy contractors. They don't even know opportunities exist. So what then happens is small businesses a lot of times get shut out because they don't have access to the capital that's needed to take on a lot of these jobs. Ultimately, then losing out to companies that have that capability to take on those projects. Additionally, traditional lenders are basically just in a business to make profit. So they have a preference for larger loans and more established businesses, again, a lot of times leaving smaller businesses out in the cold. So even if you have the skills and you have the clients, cash flow gaps a lot of times can be what stops a business from growing before it even gets a chance to get going. So what we found, if after speaking to hundreds of contractors over the course of a few years of planning, was that winning the contract is one thing, but without having the capital that you need to execute, it doesn't really do much for you. It's not worth a whole lot. So it became clear that capital is what actually fuels the business's growth. So that's why ELOC is built around the way that construction contracts work. That way, you don't have to scramble to cover costs while you're waiting for payments for work that you've completed. You have that funding readily available for you to deploy as needed. And it basically acts as, or helps you bridge the gap in terms of cash flow. So that way you don't have to pass up on opportunities or delay work while you're waiting to get paid for the jobs that you completed a month ago, 2 months ago, whatever the case may be. So now we covered a little bit about why it matters. So let's take a look at how it actually works. So like I mentioned, ELOC is a flexible line of credit that provides the working capital that you need when you need it. So unlike installment loans where you basically just receive a lump sum of cash up front and then start paying it back immediately over kind of a longer extended period of time, ELOC gives you the flexibility to draw the funds when you need them and then only pay interest on what you use. And if you pay it back quick enough, potentially not even have to pay interest at all. The funds can be used in a few different ways. Ideally, you can use them to cover materials, payroll, and other expenses that are related to projects, kind of getting projects off the ground, like permits or licensing. We definitely want to see the funds used on those project related expenses. So things that are kind of recouped once that job pays out rather than things that would probably be a better fit for installment loan financing, like I had mentioned previously. But that's something obviously we can talk about in more detail when the time comes. And in terms of repayment, Everything, like I mentioned, is set up to work the way that construction projects get paid out. So when you do make your draws and have an outstanding balance, you make a monthly interest-only payment based on the outstanding balance. That way the payment is low and manageable, doesn't upset your cash flow. And then once you've received payment from the client, you can basically repay your draw. So that once that draw is repaid, the funds become available again, and you can use them over and over. The last aspect here, the fourth item there on the list is the business operational support. So as Andrea mentioned a minute ago, Builders Avenue is a partner organization of ours, and the ELOC program isn't only about capital. It's also about that business coaching and other services that we could provide with local organizations, so that we can make sure that the way your business is now set up and the way things look moving forward, your growth is going to be built on an organized, sustainable systems. That way you can maintain that success beyond the time that you're working with us, and on into the future. So, like I mentioned before, winning the contract is one thing, but having the capital to execute on it is another. So I laid out this little scenario here, just to kind of give you an idea of the way things would work. So let's pretend you are a contractor that won a bid for some EV charger installations for a management company that has a whole bunch of properties, and they want to get those chargers installed on their properties. Now, you signed this contract, but you're still waiting to be paid on a job that was completed last month. So you come to realize you may not have enough working capital to cover the materials and labor that you have to pay out to get this job done. So without having any kind of funding, you could potentially be in a spot where you're not able to move forward and you risk losing that contract. So in a case like that, ELOC would allow you to draw the necessary funds that you need to cover those upfront costs. That way you can get that job done on time. And once that payment comes in from the work that you completed last month, you're able to make your or repay your draw, get that balance paid down, and then reuse it in the future. So ultimately, ELOC is removing those financial barriers. That way you can confidently take on those larger projects and grow your business. So in terms of eligibility, ELOC is open to anybody that owns a business in the trades that are involved in sustainability or the home health and safety space. Like I mentioned before, a lot of times people don't necessarily see themselves as that, but for example, it can anybody or everybody is eligible that's involved in the ecosystem, anywhere from the haul-away company that is supporting the GC on that health and safety two-flat rehab project, to the electrician I mentioned on the other scenario that's installing the EV charging infrastructure once that project gets completed. So everybody in the whole ecosystem is eligible. And as long as you are an LLC, corporation, or limited partnership, we aren't able to lend to sole proprietors because it is a business loan. But as long as your business is structured in that way, then you should be fine. We also don't necessarily require a long financial track record. We like to try to focus on the current health of the business and kind of the potential looking forward rather than just past performance. So even if your business is relatively new, if you have steady contracts and experience in the field, plus a solid financial record, then you may still qualify for ELOC. So for example, if you have let's say 20 years experience in your field, but you just started your business a year and a half ago and maybe only have 1 year tax returns, you wouldn't be eligible necessarily for traditional financing, but that's something where we'd be able to work with, or we'd be able to work with you to try to find a solution. We do have a soft yearly revenue cap of $1 million, but we are open to conversations with people that may be slightly over that. So that's not necessarily something that'll disqualify you, but just kind of a guideline we want to follow. And as far as credit scores go, we do not have a minimum score requirement. The credit report that's provided, it has to be up to date. So you can't have any active collection accounts, no judgments or anything like that. But we don't have a minimum score requirement. We essentially want to understand kind of how you use credit in the past and make sure that you don't have any current delinquencies. But as long as that's the case, then we are pretty flexible as far as credit goes. So let's say you qualify and you want to apply, you probably want to know what the actual terms of the loan are, right? Um, right now, our credit limit is set up for a maximum of $50,000, depending on the size and health of your business. Interest rate is currently fixed at 3%. Obviously, that's a lot lower than a lot of lenders, well, basically every lender today. But of course, subject to change in the future. So that's currently at 3%. And as far as repayment goes, repayment is taken care of on an interest-only basis on monthly payment period. So, for example, if you have a $50,000 draw on your line of credit, your monthly payment would be $150 until that's repaid. And again, once that's repaid, you are able to reuse it. For the term, the line of credit is available for 1 year with the full balance due at the end of the term. The intention here is that after you've had the full year of funding plus the coaching from Builders Avenue, that you would be better positioned to get into a more long-term solution for funding. So it's essentially intended to be an on-ramp for you to get to a permanent solution in the future, so that you don't have a lot of those issues. And as far as fees go, we do not have any application fee. There are no hidden costs or anything like that. The only fee associated with the program is a $500 closing fee that's payable at closing. So things are pretty simple as far as that goes. So from a process perspective, things may look kind of similar to the process that you would see at a traditional lender, but one of the key differences is having that technical assistance available. And it's available throughout the process, both before and after you get the loan. So in the beginning of the process, we start out with just a simple discovery conversation. That is just a way for us to kind of assess your initial eligibility and see if the use of funds or if the business needs match kind of the use of funds that we're looking for. And assuming they do, I will send you a quick application for you to complete online. It takes about 10-15 minutes. But that gives me kind of a high level view of your situation, so that we can take a look at that plus the credit report to see if we can get that pre-approval issued. If we are able to get that pre-approval issued, then that's when we move into a little bit more of the heavy lifting. And this is where we are really able to lean on the support that Builders Avenue is able to provide, because this is when you start to work on things like profit and loss statements, balance sheets, debt schedules, tax returns. A lot of these things that business owners sometimes struggle with. Because I mean, let's face it, if you're an electrician, you're an electrician, you're not an accountant. So we wouldn't necessarily expect you to be perfect when it comes to that stuff. But as a business owner, it is something that you need to focus on. And that's why the coaching is so important, and the technical assistance that we have available. So they'll assist you in getting all those documents ready and nice and pretty for us to get submitted into underwriting. Once we receive that underwriting approval, I will then basically present your file to the loan committee for approval, where we go over the kind of underwriting analysis and the final approval. But assuming that all works well, we then move into closing, where you're able to then move to drawing the actual funds. So you submit your draw request, we get that approved, you get your money, and then we begin the repayment phase. So all in all, it can take 90 to 120 days from the initial conversation that we have all the way until approval. But that is largely dependent on how quickly you can get the application filled out and all the other underwriting documents completed and provided to us. So it's a situation where we know you want to get the capital quickly. and want to be able to deploy those funds as quickly as possible. But as we go throughout the process, we can really only move as quickly as you can get us documents. So the quicker that you can get stuff over to me, the quicker we can get you through that process. So a few slides ago, and obviously a second ago, I was just talking about the business operations support and how that is just as much of a focus of our program as the funding itself. And it comes to life in a few different ways. As Andrea mentioned, Builders Ave is able to help you with financial planning, invoicing, help you with bid strategies, or really whatever back office support that you feel your business needs. That can be customized, and we will basically choose some goals and milestones for us to focus on throughout the 1 year period so that you can more or less streamline some administrative tasks and you can focus on things that matter for your business, that help you grow. We also have partnerships with other nonprofits, so we can offer some other wraparound services such as credit counseling services. Basically, if you come to us and don't qualify right away due to credit issues, our goal is to turn a no into a not today. So we'll work with you to improve those credit scores in your credit profile and help you in doing so by providing credit counseling services from another partner organization at no cost to you. So if you do apply and we have some kind of credit issue, we can get you connected with credit counseling services so that you can get that where it needs to be so that you're able to qualify in the future. Additionally, aside from those wraparound services, ELOC participants also have access to the different accelerator programs, training sessions, and other networking events that Elevate offers. We're one of the kind of leaders in the space and have all types of different events that are perfect opportunities for you to connect with other partners or find other future business opportunities. So growing your professional network is always something that's going to strengthen your business and put you in a position to open up for future opportunities. So that is also a very valuable aspect of the program as well. So overall, our goal isn't just about providing capital. It's also about helping you build a more competitive and sustainable business so you can kind of succeed however that looks for you. So, and ultimately, all of this stuff matters because we want to make sure that businesses have the ability to take on bigger jobs, and scale their operations, and improve their stability so that you can succeed in the long run. There have been communities that have essentially been overlooked, and when these opportunities become available, sometimes they get the short end of the stick. So ELOC is intended to essentially level the playing field and provide you with the resources that you need in order to succeed in the field. And ultimately, we designed the program to level the playing field so that we can all take part in the opportunity that's available and succeed. So I know a lot of times many people don't know where to start when it comes to securing funding or don't necessarily feel great about trying to qualify because of maybe a past experience. But our first step is just to have a conversation. If it's a fit, we can get the application started. We can move through the process and try to make it as painless as possible. But ultimately, without having that initial conversation, there's no way to know if it'll be a good fit, and there's no way to know if you'll be able to take advantage. So with that, I will kind of wrap things up. I am here to help in any kind of way that I can. So if you have questions, obviously feel free to reach out at any time. We can talk about how ELOC can support your business and help you grow. And we can open up the floor for Q&A, I think.
And before we jump into Q&A, James, I just wanted to just talk a little bit more about clean energy. I think so many times we think about clean energy and most folks think solar, and clean energy goes beyond solar. And so you can think about wind, maybe a lot of folks aren't doing wind projects because they're much larger, but HVAC trays if you're thinking about heat pumps, geothermal, plumbing if you're thinking about replacing of lead pipes. Waste is energy. And so if you're doing any types of projects that are approaching waste management in a unique way, landscaping, green spaces, and so forth. So there's a lot of ways in which you can think about clean energy. And if you have questions about a potential project that might be a clean energy project, I also invite you to come and chat with me to have a one-on-one, and we can explore whether ELOC is a good fit or other opportunities that are being provided throughout the city and the state might be a good fit for you as well.
Thank you, Andrea and James. These are really dynamic, interesting presentations. I learned a lot. I know we had a few questions come in that were addressed during the presentation. And then I see one from Hugh asking, how can I get in touch with you immediately? Can you share your contact information again?
Of course, I can. Well, we'll obviously be reaching out afterward, and I will drop some contact info in the chat as well.
Perfect. And just a reminder for all on the call, we do share a recording of this webinar afterwards, so you will receive that direct in your inbox via the email that you registered with. And then additionally, if you do ever want to get caught up, we share all of our past webinar Wednesday recordings on our YouTube channel. It's at Small Business Source. And you are highly encouraged to go there, see all the different presentations that our business support organizations, partners such as Builders Avenue and Elevate have provided in the past. I see one question that might be a little bit of a general source question, so I think we can address this. It's asking, are there programs for veterans and drone services providers? Drone services, that's a bit of a niche sector there, so I'll have to circle back with you on that. For veterans, though, I know through the source we have a plethora of resources, especially through our dynamic network of business support organizations that are addressing veteran needs and resources specifically for veterans. So again, I highly encourage you to visit our website, tap into free business advising, and we are more than happy to assist and uplift you. I think we're good there. I know I saw a few others addressed. I'll keep us updated if I see any more come in, but I'll pass it back to you, Dominique.
Great. Thank you, Mercedes, and thank you, Andrea. Thank you all for this wonderful presentation. It was a lot of great information. As everyone has stated, I hope you all benefited from everything that was shared. I do believe all contact information. Did we drop the contact information in the chat? Wait, I see did a question just pop up?
And someone said thank you. And then we have a question from Karen asking, a project management and renewable energy consultant, or they are a consultant, would they qualify for this resource?
I'm sorry, I was distracted. Could you repeat that
It's
one?
okay. Yeah, it's asking, Karen is a project management and renewable energy consultant. Would they qualify for these resources?
It definitely sounds like we are in the ballpark. So that would be one where it's definitely worth having a conversation, so I can get to know the situation a little bit better and get to know the work that's completed a little bit better. But it definitely sounds like we're going the right direction.
Few additional questions that are coming in here. Anonymous is asking, will there be larger loan amounts greater than 500K, 50,000 in the near future?
That is something that we've kind of played around with. That is some feedback that we've received in the past, that it could be helpful to have a little bit more funding. So something that we're open to, but right now we're keeping that cap at 50,000, with kind of the door open for the future.
Nice.
James, can we ask you to just say your contact information? I know a lot of people have been asking for it. I'm having a difficult time dropping it in the question and answer section. Mercedes, if you're able to do, if you can do that
Sure,
for us, that would be great.
I can put the contact info slide back up too. But my email address is james.c.burrell. I was actually the second James Burrell that started working at Elevate. So somebody beat me to my own email address. So it's james.cburrell@elevatenp.org.
Thank you, James. And as a reminder, for all, we will also share James and then Builders Avenue, their contact information, so you can reach out directly if you are interested. A few additional questions that are coming in here. Harold asked, is a loan available for businesses that are developing their own projects for rehab and construction or acting as their own general contractor?
Yeah, as long as I guess the source of the business isn't necessarily we don't doesn't really matter where the source of the business comes from, as long as you are active in kind of the clean energy, sustainability, health and safety space, should be able to find a way to make it work. Definitely worth reaching out and having a conversation for sure.
I think a few additional questions might support that response or be supported by that response as well. So Jose is asking, I'd like to schedule one-on-one counseling. What's the best way? Say, I'll just remind you, especially to work with any of our business support organizations through the source, please visit our website. It's a very, very simple intake form that'll ask you a few questions and then get you on the path to working with an advisor as soon as possible. James, I will let you just reiterate the best way to work with Elevate, though.
Yeah. So the best way I'll put my contact back up on the screen so that you guys have access to that. But the best way to reach out about Elevate is to contact me directly. All that contact info should be there. That QR code will take you directly to my calendar link to be able to reserve a time for us to kind of talk about your specifics. But that's always the best way. Just reach out to me directly. And if I'm not the best person for you to talk to, I can definitely get you connected with whoever is.
Perfect. See if we kind of have a few other comments here. Perhaps not direct questions. I see what Andrea is asking or addressing one directly.
And I can
Yeah.
maybe address it just out to the group as well, Carlos, the question around credit. So we also have a partnership with an organization called Working Credit. And again, I'm happy to make a referral over to them and they provide a kind of a customized support for you to build your credit. I'm going to defer to James more around the requirements as it relates to the ELOC in terms of credit. Again, they're not looking at credit score per se, but they are looking at you can't be delinquent on anything currently, as I understand it, but I'll let James maybe respond a little bit more. And then Carlos, I'm going to drop a link to, we're actually hosting a webinar next week with Working Credit on April 1st. And so I'll drop a link to that as well in case you want to sign up and learn a little bit more about them.
Yeah, and to kind of parrot that a little bit, we don't have any minimum FICO score or minimum credit score requirement. It's really just a matter of making sure that all the current accounts that are open are all up to date. So any active account has to be up to date. We don't want to have any active collections, any active judgments, any kind of derogatory that's currently active will likely need to be addressed. Of course, there's always going to be exceptions if there's identity theft or something like that, and you have somebody open a credit card in your name and charge $5,000 to it. Of course, we're not going to say you have to pay this $5,000 of fraud off in order to qualify. But generally speaking, we don't want to see any kind of collection accounts, derogatories, judgments, anything like that.
Perfect. I see a question here from Sherelle asking, we are a nonprofit working with clean energy businesses, mostly with contracting opportunities. They are interested in engaging Builders Avenue directly for referral. So Kyle, Andre, I might pass that to you or connect back with Sherelle directly, perhaps offline.
Yeah, I just shared my email, but my email is andrea@buildersavenue.org, and you're more than welcome to reach out to me to schedule a one-on-one.
Perfect. Let me see here. I think we have a few individuals that have their hand raised in the call here. I'm just trying to navigate to them. So give me 1 second here. Latoya, I will give you a moment to talk. So let me know if you are ready, but I'll do so now.
Hello.
Latoya. Hi.
Okay, so my question is, I own a laundromat. I've had it for 7 years. How can I get involved with the clean energy that you guys are, or would that not be a part of that?
I would say it's worth us having a conversation so I can get to know your business and get to know kind of the angle a little bit more. But of course, we want to focus on kind of the clean energy businesses and sustainability stuff. So it could be that maybe I don't see the angle that we're taking there, and it's worth having a conversation. So I would say we should definitely talk.
Okay, thank you.
And Latoya, I'll also share through the through Cook County, we have a program affectionately acronymed BRIGHT. So please look that up at just Cook County BRIGHT, BRITE. It's a clean energy initiative program that provides dry cleaners specifically, but a few other small businesses just different energy assessments and then also funding to make those improvements in your business. So as a dry cleaner owner, you should be eligible, but definitely check that out.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. I see a few other hands raised here. So I'm going to add Carlos. If you would like to talk, I'll give you that option real quick right here now.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, my question is about the funding. We are in the renewable energy, uh, solar and HVAC. We got our license here in Illinois, but all our funding went towards licensing and getting the business established. So now we have that problem with the credit scores and having some late payments. With that, would I still be able to apply for the for this program?
I would definitely say let's talk. So I can kind of get a little bit more information about the situation and what we're dealing with.
Okay.
But like I mentioned through the program or through my presentation, worst case scenario, I would be able to get you connected with working credit, like Andrea mentioned, to take advantage of some credit counseling services that could get your scores up. So we should talk about that.
Okay, so you are looking into scores and credit management.
The credit, yes. Scores specifically, no. We don't have a minimum credit score requirement, but we do obviously want to see how you've managed credit recently and in the past. So if there are currently actively late trade lines or collection accounts that are fresh, it's something that's going to have to be addressed prior to being able to qualify.
Yeah, we don't have none of that. Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, we could definitely. I think it's definitely worth taking a look and seeing what we're dealing with.
Okay, definitely. I schedule one for tomorrow, 11:30 with you.
Awesome.
All right, thank
Awesome.
you. Appreciate it. All right.
Talk to you then.
I see one more hand raised here, Hugh, who I believe may have been up for a moment now. So Hugh, I'm going to give you a moment real quick to voice any questions you may have. think we might have already answered Hugh's question. I see Max is dropping some of the Bright link information and contact information actually in our Q&A. So that's great, Max, to have you on the call. Definitely, if you all are interested in kind of investigating a few resources that the county offers directly for clean energy energy assessments, please check that out. Looking at a few other questions that we had come in. Harold is asking, to take advantage of these resources, does the project have to be located within Cook County?
Cook County, no, but the business has to be in Illinois. So we need the business to be structured in Illinois and located in Illinois.
Perfect. Darius is asking, do you assist with transportation companies?
I guess it depends on kind of the actual functions and kind of operations that you do. But it's a possibility. I wouldn't say no off the bat.
Yeah, I would say a good example of that might be, if you're a hauler and you're trying to, go all electric with your vehicles, that could be a way in which you could qualify under clean energy.
And I see another one in there asking about personal credit or business credit. The loan does have a personal guarantee. So we're looking at personal credit rather than business credit. So that's a really good question.
And then there's another question, James, around whether nonprofits in clean energy would be eligible for ELOCs.
I haven't come across that scenario yet. So let me get back to you with a better answer because I don't want to say one thing and not be 100% sure. So I'll get back to you on that.
I think this is wonderful. You all have really incited a lot of great questions coming through the queue. Thank you, James and Andrea. The questions, they just keep coming. Have we answered them all? Okay, we cleared them
I think
out.
we're
So I
good.
was
Yeah.
want to ask, Max, I see that you're on from the Cook County Bright program. Did you want to speak really quickly to Latoya in regards to what you guys offer, the laundromat space and clean energy? Can you bring him on, Mercedes?
Yeah, give me 1 second to find him here. Go.
Me? Yes, no. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Um, great. So yeah, like I posted in the chat, the link for the Bright program. Yeah, similar to what Elevate is doing with the Small Business Source, we offer free technical assistance assessments to look at different, what we call pollution prevention opportunities. So this could be a new, more efficient boiler. This could be a toxic-free alternative for your dry cleaning machine. Latoya, to your question earlier, it can be solar panels or EV installations, really anything that we consider to be, again, pollution prevention, so energy saving, waste reducing, and just cost saving as a whole for your business. So it's free assessments. We have grant opportunities up to $300,000 for the projects. That does oftentimes include a cost share. We work with utilities and other grant programs like the Small Business Source to help try and make that as little of a burden as possible on your business. So yeah, that's probably everything in a nutshell. I'll put the link again in the Q&A. Maybe if Mercedes or someone can email that out as well with any follow-up, I'd appreciate that. But my email is also in that chat, and feel free to email me with any questions that you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. That was great. I hope that helped Latoya. We have a lot of great resources in the clean energy space that joined us on this line. I am so excited. This honestly has been our most involved webinar. So this is a great topic that people are really energized about. So again, thank you all. Are there any last minute suggestions that you all would like to say, any call outs before we end this call? I think we are at 10:57, so you all did great.
I would just like to reiterate that even if somebody may not see themselves as a clean energy contractor, that they definitely could still have opportunities available. So don't necessarily put yourself in a box. Keep an open mind and see what kind of opportunities are available.
And I also just want to reiterate that beyond clean energy, Builders Avenue supports construction entrepreneurs broadly. And so you're welcome to reach out via the source or via my email, which is Andrea@Builders Avenue, and we can support you more holistically with capacity building back office support.
That was great. Thank you both, James, Andrea. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Max, for speaking up. Thank you for everyone who asked questions. As you can see, please join us, as Mercedes stated, for our next month webinar Wednesday. We host these every the last Wednesday of every month. We are here to provide you all with any opportunity of resource information that we can provide. If you are in the construction and solar space, if you mismanaged, accidentally, forgot where you dropped Andrea's information or James, you can reach them through the source intake form, where you just go to our website, cookcountysmallbiz.org, go to our intake form, say you would like advising. There is a drop down where you can select solar. I believe you can also select their actual organization, Builders Avenue, as a drop down, and you can directly attest that you would like to work with them, and you will be matched. And either Kyle or Andrea or one of their other wonderful advisors will reach out to you to schedule your one-on-one coaching consultation. So we have Elevate's information. We have Andrea and Kyle's information from Builders Avenue. We thank you all. We will be sending out a follow-up email with this recording, as well as the resources that were provided in today's webinar. And we thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you all next month. Please share, let people know that we're here. Join our website, join our newsletter, so you can stay up to date with everything that we have coming down the pipeline this year, and everything that's already going on. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and we thank you for joining the Cook County Small Business Source. Have a good one. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, all.